Hey yo, what is up? Welcome back to the channel. I've got a mod that I think I've been sitting on for like 2 months. It's supposed to be a super easy mod, just haven't taken the time. We're getting it on the truck today, so let's get right into it. Let's go. Okay, let me show you what we've got here. Like I said, it's been a couple of months just waiting, sitting for me to take the time to install these. And what we have is the sequential turn signals for the side mirrors on the Tacoma. I'll show you what's in the box here. You've got a little screwdriver. You've got a pry tool. It's a hard plastic, so it shouldn't scratch the surface. And then carefully we'll take these out, and I've got the sequential turn signals. This is the smoked out version. So you've got the white, which honestly what's on there is kind of a white and a chrome. So for me personally, I don't see the point of that. There's the blacked out ones and then the smoked out. I really like the blacked out, and I was gonna go there, and then I thought maybe the smoked out still give it a little bit of color variation that might make it work it. So obviously you've got the two, one for the driver, one for the passenger side. You've got the plugs. Never installed these, watched some videos on it, but this will be my first time installing them, so let's see how it goes. All right, I've got the truck turned on. You can hear the motor humming in the background. Let's take a look at what is the OEM version, what already came on it, and this is what we're gonna replace. So we'll get kind of in here close. You can see it's the amber light, but then behind it, it's that white and chrome look to it. Show you what it looks like when it's turned off. It's just the chrome and the white look. That's kind of the look we're trying to get rid of. As I blacked out the badging and done some other things, hopefully adding this smoked is gonna clean up the look. Just make it a little bit nicer here on the outside of the Tacoma. All right, let's install this puppy. First thing we got to do is pop off this protective covering. I think you can just kind of pull it off with your hands, but since they set this pry tool, maybe I'll kind of use that to get underneath it a little bit. It feels like this part actually is kind of loosening up already, but not so much this part over here. I'm gonna admit, if you've never done this and you hear that crack, it makes you a little bit nervous. Okay, it's a little nerve-wracking as you start to hear it pop, and these mirrors kind of pivot too, so try to keep it in place. The top was fairly easy, then you gotta get the rest. You can see all the little spots that it's been hanging on, so it's gonna take a little bit of effort. You're gonna hear a little bit of popping. Don't worry about it, that's normal. Then you'll be able to get that piece off. Now you can see where the turn signal is, and you can see the cables that are gonna come up into it. Let's grab the new piece, look at what's out there, and then we can figure out exactly what we need to unplug on this one. All right, so you can see on this one here, obviously you can't put them in the wrong direction. You can tell which way it goes. On the back, you've just got this single cable. So what we're gonna be looking at is, what do we unplug on this one and unclip? There's a couple little clips on there. We've also got the screwdriver that came with it to be able to unscrew it. So let's get this other one taken off, and then we'll get the new one put on, see how they look. All right, so up in here, there's a little bit of a clip that you can see where it's going in. You've also got a screw right there. So let's start by taking that screw off. All right, that screw's in there pretty tight, so we'll get that off first. Careful not to drop it. Then you've got another screw right there, so we'll get that one off. So second screw's out. Honestly, if you've got your own screwdriver that's a little bit better, I'd probably use it. This one works if you don't have anything, but something a little bigger would actually have made that a little bit easier. Now make sure you set those screws aside because you are going to use them to put it back in. And what we're doing is we're just trying to remove this piece of it and this housing that's been holding it in. Okay, so this piece doesn't actually come off. Maybe it's supposed to, but I didn't bring it off. I want to keep it clipped in. It's really easy to see where we're going to be connecting now for this new light. All right, so let's do it. We're going to unplug this portion, and then we're going to plug the new one in. So just pop that out. That one's out. That one's done. Let's grab the new one. Again, this is just plug and play. I don't know if there's a specific direction it needs to go. So that's the only thing that I'm maybe, do I need to flip it? We're going to test it before we put all this stuff back up. But basically, it's just plug and play. Then we're going to tuck this back in. We'll pull off this protective cellophane, screw it back in so it's nice and tight, get that casing back on, and we'll see how it looks. Let's go. Okay, so what I found to be easiest was get the signal back in its spot where you know it's secure, and then this protective case that's going to clamp it back on, then put this back on top. Then we'll go ahead and we'll connect that cable once again. So we get this back into place. We make sure that this is going to be able to connect and that all of our holes are going to line up. Now we're kind of to that point where I don't want to put it in without pulling off this protective cellophane. So I wanted to make sure that I knew where it went first. But we'll carefully pull this off. You got to peel it off starting on the back because that's where it is connected. We want to be careful not to scratch anything when we're installing it, obviously. But let's just peel that off. Like that. You can see that smoked out gray. It's got a little bit of a padding there, a little bit of a foam around it that should help keep it tight. So I didn't really notice that until now, but let's put it into place. Again, we'll get it in its spot first where it feels like it's firm and attached and where it needs to be. Lock it down in place, and then we can work on getting these clips down. Now I almost forgot to put this back in, and that would have been sticking out of place. So we're going to tuck that back in first, back down in where it was. Tuck that in, we'll tuck that in, bring this clip back around. Get that all clipped in, let's screw it back in. Screws are in, clamping this back in. Let's test it before we put it all back in and seal it up. All right, so guess what? I put it all back in, didn't put the housing on, but had it pretty much in place and nothing. I'm hoping that this isn't just a bad piece, that it actually has to do with the polarity on this. Let's flip it, see what happens. So yes, polarity matters. When you clip those two cables, that plug and play together, you can see it's working. It didn't work the other way. So test it before you put everything back together. I made that mistake, so you don't need to. All right, now that we know it works, let's go ahead, put it back into place. Again, we're just gonna move that bracket out of the way. Really focus on just getting this piece. Not worried about the bracket as much. We just want to get that out of the way. Let's get this piece where it needs to go. Nice, tight, in position. Then get this cable back out of the way. Get it down where it goes. Bring this back up. Hear that lock in place? That tells us we're good there. This clip should line up perfectly at that point. Your screws should all line up. Kind of hear that all clicking back into place. Perfect. Let's screw it in and let's get it all housed up now that we know that that works. Housing's back in place. Feels good. Feels tight. Let's take a look, see how it looks. Now that we turn it on, you can see, again, this is smoked out, so it's not the solid blackout. Still's got a little bit of contrast to it, but it's definitely better than what we had there, right? The light, the chrome, all smoked out. Let's see how it looks. That looks good, check that out. Not only did we get rid of the chrome, got rid of the white, add the smoked out, now we've got the sequential turn signals. This just takes this look of the truck to like a whole new level, matches the blacked out badging that I've got as well. Loving it. This is awesome. Let's jump in and get the other side done. So if you've had a lot of trucks and you've done a lot of mods, you know this is a pretty simple mod. If you're like me and you're new to mods and trucks and modding trucks, this is the first time that I've done a mod that required me to kind of pull something apart. Again, it's actually not that complicated, but you know, a little bit nerve-wracking the first time. The only other mod that's really been an install that I've done, at least, was my Tiger roll-up cover. Super easy. It goes into the channel of the truck bed, so that's something that you can do without removing any pieces or switching anything out. You're just attaching something. I'll link down below to that video if you haven't seen it and you're looking for some kind of a tonneau cover. It's a really, really good one. It's one of the least expensive ones on Amazon. I've had it for months and months. It's held up great. But this is the first time that I'm actually pulling off a housing and doing something. So it's a little bit more frustrating, so it's a little bit more nerve-wracking as you're popping something off, but super easy mod. Let's get this side done and then let's see how it looks. And it's easiest just to kind of go around it, just keep working. I did use the pry tool to kind of get it started. Once you get it started though, you kind of just want to use your hands to slowly get it going. Boom, just like that. Admittedly, doesn't help that I'm doing it backwards because of the camera, but let's get those screws out here and here. We've got the clamp up here. This has got a little push that it's a little hook on here. Maybe I can film this and show you that let's see if you can see this. It's this little clip right here that pushes back. So I'm going to push that back and carefully undo this. The other one I snapped just the end of it. Not a big deal, but ideally we don't break it on this one. Going to be honest, I switched to a thicker Phillips head. If you've got a tool with a thicker head on it, it's actually easier than the one that comes with it. You saw on the other side, I completely used that one, but it's just a little bit quicker, a little bit easier. We pull that out. On the back of this, you push up. Slides off really easily. I was trying to push down, just push up. It'll come off just like that. All right, now we've got the new one. Again, the smoked out. I'm going to carefully remove some of the cellophane protective backing just because I want it out of the way. I want to make sure they don't end up with some of that stuck on there, as some of it appears to be. Now I'm going to clip this in. Not make the same mistake. Let's test it, check the polarity, come back, install it once we've got it right. And shockingly, I did not get it on the first try again. So we're just gonna depress that little tab right there, pull that out, flip it, sync it. We'll go ahead, turn on the truck, test it again. All right, it's in, it's nice and tight, feels really good. Let's back it up. Let's see what these things look like at the same time. Hey, really quick, before I back the truck up, before we try to get some video looking at the two sides, thanks for checking out the video. Hit like if this is the kind of stuff you like. Hit subscribe. We're gonna do a better job, I promise, on weekly videos, mods, installs, all this kind of stuff. Again, this wasn't a very difficult one, but the first time that I'd had to remove anything, do anything electrical, and kind of good to start maybe where your comfort level is and then build up from there. That's kind of my plan. But again, like, subscribe. Thank you for checking out the video. Let's see what it looks like. How good does that look? That's awesome. I love the look. I love the sequential. I love the smoked out. I think it matches what I'm going for here on the truck. Thanks for checking it out. Again, this was, kind of a step up from the mods I've done. Hopefully let's keep this going. I've got more mods planned for what I have in store for my Tacoma. This definitely fits in with that. Great look to it. Hopefully this has been of value. Like, subscribe, and we'll catch you in the next video. All right, peace out.